Hi, it's Rob, and I'm reviewing the 9th film made by the classic zany comedy team, the Marx Brothers. The movie is called At the Circus, and it was released in 1939 by MGM. It's available on DVD as a double feature with another Marx Brothers film, their previous film, Room Service. And in the movie, Chico plays an employee of a circus owned by Jeff Wilson, played by Kenny Baker. Wilson owes his partner, a man named Carter, $10,000, but before Jeff can give him the money, Carter has a couple of his circus performers steal the money so that he can take over the circus. Chico and fellow employee Harpo calls on lawyer Cheever Loophole, played by Groucho Marx, to help Wilson out of this jam and to get the money back.
You should meet the boss.
Well, Mr. Wilson, mighty glad to make your acquaintance. Always wanted to meet you, sir. Think you're the greatest circus owner since P.T. Barnum. Isn't it a P.T. we never met before?
Hey, Loophole, that's not the boss.
He isn't?
No.
Well, he should be. He's the executive type. I'll thank you to keep a civil tongue in your head.
Now, I've seen all of the Marx Brothers movies at one point or another, and At the Circus is always the one that I really do not remember very well. I think it is because At the Circus is amusing and there are a few hilarious sequences, but it's not quite as funny as Night at the Opera or, to an extent, Day at the Races. At the Circus has often been called the start of the decline of the Marx Brothers films by critics and by many of their fans, and many reasons that are given include that they no longer were able to take their material on the road to be polished in front of a live audience, the movies were less archaic and more formal, and sometimes they were saddled with material that wasn't suited for them, and sometimes the plots overtook the comedy bits. But I will say this, At the Circus is one of the better of the last 3 MGM films. Like the others that they made for the studio, the brothers are called on to help one of the romantic leads, in this case it's circus owner Kenny Baker. Some of the pros of At the Circus is that the team work together more. For example, they are so determined to find the missing money and to help their employer out that they go through the circus trying to do it, and there's a lot of different sequences of them doing that. Oftentimes in past films, the team is split up for the most part. Like, for example, Chico will be with Harpo, he'll do a few routines with Groucho, and sometimes Groucho is off on his own, or he's hanging out with Margaret Dumont, or he's hanging out with Zeppo. But I think that when they work together, they really bring out great energy to work off of, as it was demonstrated in their previous movie, Room Service. Sometimes this energy makes up for the occasionally mediocre material that the brothers are given. There are some good comedy bits, but they don't have the polish of their other films. There's a great sequence where Chico is trying to reconstruct the crime with Harpo, and there's also one where Chico and Groucho, they get a routine about trying to board a train with a badge. But if you compare this to the contract scene in Night at the Opera or the ice cream scene at Day at the Races, it doesn't really, develop, and it is kind of brief.
I'm sorry, boss, so nobody gets on the train unless they got the badge.
Badge?
The badge, yeah.
Oh, badge. Oh, you mean my Lone Ranger badge. Sorry, they took it back. I stopped eating the cereal. Well, the circus is certainly lucky to have you for a watchdog, you old badge.
Groucho himself does get a few funny lines, but he also gets a few groaners here. Another plus to At the Circus is that Groucho sings one of his many signature tunes, Lydia the Tattooed Lady.
Oh Lydia, that encyclopedia. Oh Lydia, the queen of tattoo. On her back is the Battle of Waterloo. Beside it, the wreck of the Hesperus too. And proudly above waves the red, white, and blue. You can learn a lot from Lydia.
And Margaret Dumont is back as Groucho's frequent love interest. She plays Wilson's rich aunt who disowns him. However, she shows up later in the film, and she doesn't really find Groucho to be charming at first as she had done in the previous films. But I think Groucho really comes alive the most in this movie when he is with her.
Gracious, I don't know you.
You mean you've forgotten?
When
I know, you have forgotten. Those June nights in the Riviera, where we sat beneath the shimmering skies, moonlight bathing in the Mediterranean. We were young, gay, reckless. The night I drank champagne from your slipper, 2 quarts. It would have held more, but you were wearing inner soles. Oh, Hildegard.
My name is Susanna.
Let's not quibble. It's enough that you've killed something fine and
While Day at the Races I found to be slow, At the Circus is a very fast-paced movie, kind of harkening back to the pacing of the Paramount films. But some of the downsides of At the Circus is the romantic leads. In this film, they're played, like I said, Kenny Baker and Florence Rice, and while I found Rice to be very charming to look at, Baker, I found him to be kind of bland, and throughout the film I kept wanting, Alan Jones or Zeppo. I wanted them back. But unlike these two their predecessors, I felt like these two just really didn't have much of a personality. The movie starts out a bit slow, but I think once Groucho enters the film, it picks up big time. And also, the villain of this film is also kind of bland and forgettable too. And the score itself, except for Lady the Tattooed Lady, it's okay. It was written by the team who wrote for The Wizard of Oz, their previous film. Finally, the climax of the film I found to be cartoonish. I mean, in the brothers' other films, whenever they go after somebody that wronged them, they have more clever jokes and gags. But the sequence here, supposedly written by the great silent film comic Buster Keaton, really doesn't fit them very well. But overall, At the Circus is not a complete waste of time. The brothers are worth a look here, and there's some moments that work well. But if you compare this movie to their previous films, you may find yourself to be a bit disappointed with it. And also, if you're one of those people that like to fast forward through the romantic leads in Marx Brothers movies, you'll probably find yourself doing it here. So overall, At the Circus is not their best film, it's not their worst, but it does have a few moments here and there, and it's worth the 86 minutes of it. Alright, so that's my review of At the Circus. So I got 4 more films to go till I'm done. So if you have seen At the Circus, go ahead and post your comments. If you have any feedback on the Marx Brothers or about this series that I've been doing, go ahead and post them as well. Thanks very much for watching.